can say what I need to say. You know what I mean? So that's part of it too. It's more about the individual instead of the community. We've been broken up as a community. We don't feel a sense of community. Where we came from, they done, just like they tore the whole projects down. We knew everybody from the project. They was a part of the community too. Now they out west, out south over there. They broke it up. You know what I mean? So like I can't even go back to where I came from and still get the same type of even that community. It ain't the same no more. That's gone. You know what I mean? So like I say, I think it's the environment that we come up in. You know what I mean? It's just a mechanism on some survival. Well, I ain't talking to this dude, even though you might see him. Y'all might make eye contact. But you can even take that a different way. You know what I mean? Like we guard it. You know what I mean? We guard not. It's about safety. You know what I mean? So when it's about safety, then you gotta survive. So whatever. If I ain't gotta talk to this dude because we might have a disagreement, right? So I think like I say, it's just about the environment we came up in and what we've been fed our whole lives. And you can turn on any TV, any news report, it's gonna be the same format no matter what city or state you in. They gonna talk about the wildest nigga first, and they gonna show an image. Then when they show the image of the white guy, he coming in and he telling the court when he coming to court, right? In a nice suit, with his lawyer next to him, walking free. But that's a criminal too. But look how they portraying them. You know what I mean? But they portray us, the wild ones, right? So yeah, that's what it is. Them images, man. If you don't think and you're not in the present and you're not understanding, then that's how you're gonna feel about your own people and yourself in the end.
Man, that's excellent. That's an excellent point, man. I really appreciate it, man. We're gonna move on to Sin. That was dope.
I kind of agree a bit with everybody. I'm from Chicago. Born and raised around 71st and King Drive. So I was, it was rough. It was about that life. And what I can honestly say, when I moved to Indiana, me and my husband moved to Indiana maybe 10, 12 years ago. We live in Gary, might as well be Chocolate City, just like where I came from. But the biggest shock I got was people speaking to me every day. Good morning, good morning. What the hell are you speaking to me for? Like, what is this all about? Like, I wasn't even used to. I was raised in a house where we said good morning, how was your day, how you doing? But when I had to leave out them doors, it was a different aspect, especially for the way I was living. So to come into a different environment, right next door to Chicago, it was almost a cultural shock for me. I wasn't used to that. And unfortunately, that's how we are with each other. It's the environment, it's the history of us, it's us not being bonded or bonding with each other. It's not just what we was taught, you know what I'm saying? Because we got the ability to teach each other just for one person who might know who can teach somebody else. But if we're not taking that time out to really try to connect with one another, it's never going to go anywhere anyway.
You know what? What I'm gonna do? I appreciate your last statement as well, man. I appreciate everybody for being on, and I'm just gonna put everybody thing in the mix. And I think I want y'all opinion on this too. I think our lack of Charlotte touched on my opinion. I think our disconnect from the South, and like Tran said, we get separated from this. First, we get separated from our continent. Then we're dispersed all over the country. And it's a certain set of morals and standards that was set when we were in the South. And then we broke away from the South and we came up here. I think those, and Steve can really speak to this better than anybody. I think that certain set of morals and standards, when we came up here, at some point, I'm going to say around 85, like 80, 85, we stopped going back down there. Because at one point, I can remember in my life, it was, I don't go down there. And then you get down there, you having the time of your life, and you damn near didn't want to come back home. And then you came back home and told all your homies how dope it was down there. But what you didn't really realize you were picking up on was your grandparents, your great-grandparents, your aunts and uncles. you picked up on something that you didn't even know was that you were picking up on, and then you came back here to Chicago, and like Tran said, in our neighborhood, we were locked in. Tran mama knew me, my mama knew Tran, our man Big Illinois, his mama, everybody mama knew each other. You couldn't do anything without getting in a world of trouble. And we talking about a mile north, south, east, and west. From Armitage to Chicago Avenue, from Wells to Halsted. You might not know everybody's name, but everybody knew who you were. They could see you and go, I know you. And they knew what you were involved in. When we got dispersed, we didn't have that. Like when Sam moved to Gary was still like one gigantic neighborhood. It sounds like it's like, and it is still. I've never been to Gary, but I bet you it still has that southern feel. And the longer we stay away from places like Gary and going down to visit, think about it. I'll just ask anybody. After I say this, I want to know when the last time you went down south. When we lost that feeling. So when we lost that feeling, we start integrating into a society that didn't even like us and adapting to their ways instead of doing it how we do. And I'm going to take it rated Kev, Dion, Steve, Charlotte, Tran, and then we'll move on to the second question.
Well, I'm from the South, so.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But I understand exactly what you're saying. Losing that disconnect from where we're from, where we originated, is huge. It goes to I think the whole essence of some of our issues. Because I think as a society, not individuals, but I think as a society, we think that it's, far green on the other side, and we try to integrate into what other races are doing and think that's better. And I think that's one of our biggest problems. If we learn our roots and understand where we came from and understand how, beautiful it is to connect with our people and really understand how rich in heritage that we have, then we can truly progress and grow. So I definitely agree with you. Learning where we're from and understanding our roots is essential to our growth. Isn't that how a tree grows? Strong roots grows the tree, right? But the same thing with us. I think if we can understand where we come from, understand our roots, it'll help us grow.
Dion.
I think not to go back to last week, but I think the young lady said something that was very important. She spoke about integration and how it actually hurt our community. My mom lives in the South, in Mississippi, so I go down there quite often to see about my mom. My whole family is from Mississippi. And one of the things my grandfather used to talk about was how black folks was forced to stick together because they couldn't go into white neighborhoods. They couldn't shop in white stores. They couldn't go into hotels. They had to have midwives because they had issues going into hospitals. The store on the corner was owned by somebody black. Like we had to commune with one another. We had to live, and so that's why we had this familial type of atmosphere because we were forced to rely on one another. We got away from that, and it seems like again it goes back to me the self-image when somebody has trained you to believe that you're less than, that their water is wetter and that their ice is colder. We have this flight mentality. As soon as we get a chance, we move out of our neighborhoods, we move away from each other. And to me, that speaks to a deeper issue. When you look in the mirror, what do you see? When you look at the next man, what do you see? I think how we treat one another as a community is reflective of how we feel about ourselves and our self-image. And I think when you allow your oppressor to educate you, he's not going to educate you in a way that's in your best interest. And I think at the end of the day, what you're seeing right now is really the results of years and years of miseducation. And we don't trust one another. We don't trust one another because the images that we're being fed about one another constantly are negative. So when we approach one another right off top, we give each other a side eye. Even if you don't know this person has never done anything to you on sight, you have this subconscious fear of somebody that looks just like you, and you don't even know why. And so until we get to the heart of the matter, which deals with us learning how to know who we are, rebranding our self-image, so that when we look at the next man, we see value in the next man. This is just a cycle that's just gonna keep repeating itself.
Okay, who's next? That means Steve is next.
Okay. Well, me, I'm being from the South. It's just a lot of love down there.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, I mean, love for each other, love just to see each other, you know. But here's the deal. I remember growing up when I was up here in school. Each summer we were going down south, and it was just something. I always thought things was better down there. The water, I thought people was healthier, they were stronger. You know, the air was cleaner. You know, and it was quiet. It was peaceful. You know, it was something to wake up in the morning and you hear some chicken, dog barking, a cow. Then we walk outside, you see the field. You know, and we talk about Africa. You know, Mississippi is similar in the sense that it's open field. You're free. You know, there's no chaos. There's no smog. You know, you're reconnecting with your ancestors, really. You know, and when you talk to your cousins and they tell you their stories, they tell about the family history, you know, that's reconnecting. And that's something that people up north need to do. Reach back down south and connect with their people, you know? And, well, that's basically what I'm saying.
No, speak on it, man. Again, man, we got time. We got time. So if you want to speak, and if everybody else have to go, I'll keep listening. I don't want anybody to cut their thought short to not step on toes, because somebody that's listening that need to hear what you're saying.
I get it.
Okay, Charlotte?
I just want to say I always enjoy this show, and I'm not saying that because I'm asked to be a panelist today, but I always feel like I'm learning something every single time I'm listening to all of you. So thank you all so much for sharing, because I love to learn new things all the time. But we talked about this before, and I know that it's important to Raider Kev, because I know a few times he said it. We got to start with our family. So I shared that I'm a single mom. I have one daughter. I used to make it a point every single Sunday, we're going to sit together and have breakfast before we go to church. When I think about the South, when I think about the Black family, I think about Medea. Okay, Medea was my grandmama. Those Sunday dinners, right? No matter what you were doing, where you were at, we're going to have that Sunday dinner. Okay? So, and I also shared that I miss that time with my daughter. We're the only two here in the house because of our schedules. She'll get hungry while I'm still at school, and she'll eat. I come home, she's already eaten, so I'm eating by myself. And I already feel that disconnect, and it's just two of us. So imagine our community, our family, right? How many of our families still get together on those Sundays? How many of us still have that Medea in our family? Because I can tell you right now, when my Medea passed away, when my grandmother passed away, my aunts went in different directions. It just immediately, I mean, there was no pause, no, we gonna gradually drift away. It was immediate. That was it. Now we don't know whose family we're gonna be at for Christmas, if we gonna get together. We don't know if we're gonna get together for Thanksgiving. But while my grandmother and my great-grandmother was here, there was no question. We going to Medea's, everybody. So I think, again, you know, we need to start with our families. We need to devote that time, have that spiritual and emotional connection. And once we can, you know, do that with our own family, it grows, right? Block parties. I think family reunions in the South. I met relatives at that family reunion I only saw when I went to the family reunion. instantly felt safe. You instantly felt that connection. And I think, again, we let, social media and society tell us, oh, you got to stay busy and you got to do this and you got to, be the hamster on the wheel. You got to make that living, make that dollar. But I feel like that breaks us down in a lot of ways. So I think we have to make up in our mind that we want to keep that connection and we want to keep that growth and not let it die with Medea. We got to step up and be the Medea, when that happens, and just keep it going.
Yes, indeed. Tran, it's on you, bro.
Yeah, so you was initially talking about, back in the 80, 85, well, you going back and forth down south, and that struck me because the first and only time I ever, me and the family, was my mother and father. They drove us, me, my brother, and my sister, down to Tupelo, Mississippi. My great grandfather, a pastor, his wife, my great grandmother. We went out to their house. This is my first time ever seeing anything like this, and doing the whole road trip all the way down there. But I got that. I mean, there's things that's stamped in my mind, but it was all like I didn't feel out of place. You know what I mean? I was seeing stuff and a part of stuff. The guys got little BB guns. They go down by the creek. They shooting frogs and taking them back and cooking them. You know what I'm saying? BB guns. I ain't never seen that, right? You know what I mean? But I was like, oh my God, they shooting frogs in the face. You know what I mean? I was like, all right, cool. You know what I mean? They got a dirt. It's all dirt. They got a big wheel, huge wheel that they using to roll on the dirt to pack it down. And they got a basketball hoop right there. They playing basketball on dirt, like we play on the concrete. And they, and the dirt ain't messy. I mean, I'm like, what? Like, just the stuff I'm seeing. And like I say, it was immediate. I felt at home, even though I was way somewhere else. You know what I mean? And that part, and when y'all started talking about this, that's the first memory that hit my head. Like, oh my God, I did this. You know what I mean? And it was, I felt the connection to that part. I ain't been back down there since then. You know what I mean? But that connection, but that also let me see that part of it. The hospitality side of it. Are you all right? What you need? They old. They in their 70s, 80s. You know what I mean? Great grandma, you need anything, baby? Going to, I'm all right. You know what I mean? But still, that you feel a love immediately, and you feel a connection, and that's real. When y'all started talking about it, that was the first thing that popped into my mind. You know what I mean? But for the most part, it's something that we have to proactively do, and you have to be, to even talk to somebody, and you have to tell yourself you're gonna do this and this what you're gonna do, because it's like I told y'all before, when somebody can come talk to me, and then I'm open. My mouth is running a thousand miles a minute. You know what I mean? I'm talking, hey, it's all friendly, it's all love, right? Because that's what it is, But you got to break that ice first, right? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I have to make it a point, but that might not be a part of my personality as well. I ain't just going to talk to people. Not that I won't, so I'll still get a nod or what's up or how you doing, you know what I mean? Or we make eye contact. I feel like I just say hi when I make eye contact with you, you know what I mean? So that might be, I could be more proactive with it, but, I teach my kids the same thing. Be friendly. You know what I mean? Be friendly to people. My second youngest, he talk to everybody. You know what I mean? He make friends everywhere he go. Because he he sees some little white kids playing on the slide, he'll go start talking to them. Now he got some new friends, right? That was probably me when I was that young, and I encouraged that. You know what I mean? I don't tell, hey man, don't go. No, I tell him, hey, I like that you went to go say hi to them. But that's something, he don't necessarily see me doing, but you see when people speak to me, because y'all daddy, you know them? No, they just spoke to me, so I spoke back. like I knew them already, right? You know what I mean? So that part of it is still active. Like I say, you know, it ain't somebody speak to me. It's all love. You know what I mean? Until it ain't love. You know, so but you know that's part of my personality personally. But just in the community itself, like I say, we so guarded. You know, everybody is really, you know, it's on some, you know, some real protection and some, I got survive type. I don't even got to look at you. You know what I mean? I can walk right past you and look away. I feel you. You see me, I see you. Right? But I can look in the opposite direction, pretend like I don't even see you. You know what I mean? That's a mechanism, you know, that's safety. Like that part is real. You know what I mean? When you grow up in these environments, you know, that's something that you gotta break through that, and then take, you know, really understanding who you are, where you at, and what, you know, if that's where you want to, the direction you want to go in. But you know, it take work for me to just start talking to people. You know what I mean? But not like I wouldn't know. You know, but I will. And like I say, at least I know for a fact that I show my son some examples that my sons. I got 3 of them, by the way. And you know, if people speak to me, I'll speak right back, and we get to having conversations like we've been knowing each other. There it is, right? You know what I mean? So they see that. So that's just something, and I always try to lead by example. That's a small example, but you know, that's something that can lead them in the right direction. You know, so as far as the family, at least I'm still trying to teach the same lessons that I got from my grandmamas and my mamas and my aunts and everything. And I still, every time I go back to the crib, my aunt and uncle, my sister's mother, and her husband, they always have a huge thing, and everybody comes, and they make the food. My mama make this, my aunt make this. Last time I went, the craziest thing ever, just to get off the subject a little bit. So I'm always the oddball, the one to go smoke weed in the back of the garage and alley. I come back to the crib, everybody eating edibles and smoking. My aunt, my uncle, my cousin, what? I was shocked. My sister, my little brother, what? What's happening? But yeah, but that's family. I was like, yeah, now y'all all on my side. That was something good, and that's that family vibe that they keeping it alive. And my grandmama, she passed, you know, in the early 2000s, and they still, that thing is still, you know, I don't know, it ain't just because I'm coming. They usually be having some type of event, but the whole family, I get to see cousins I ain't seen in 4 years, you know what I mean? And yeah, so, and you know, so that's something that's always been a part of my family anyway. And that's something I kind of do out here. I'm out here in Massachusetts. I'm talking about I light up the grill and invite everybody. You know, I don't heard cats out here, man, he had a lot of his cookouts. Because everybody coming, come on. Once they come, I'm lighting up the grill. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, that's my, okay, this the family, but this is the community too. You know, I got 4 kids, so they got plenty of friends. You know what I mean? So no, I try to keep it alive and at least show, you know, the kids this is what it is. You know what I mean? So at least I'm trying to do my part. And this,
amen.
Even speaking on this got me in the mind frame that I have at least been keeping some traditions alive that I, you know, that came with the family that I grew up in. You know what I mean? But that's what it takes though, man. The people gotta get to the point where they comfortable speaking. If that ain't you, you know what I mean? But you know, it's all us. It's on us as all individuals to make that choice. And once we can do that, or get people going in that direction, it'll be more open, and we'll feel more of a sense of community and more togetherness.
That's what's up. Sam, what's up? Talk to me.
My people left the South in the mid to late 20s.
Ooh.
So honestly, growing up, my grandmother, us going to the South, it was a no.
Oh.
You know, she was remembered the Jim Crow laws and the racism and, you know, having to work as a sharecropper and all, you know what I'm saying? So like, even when our friends from the neighborhood would be going down south every summer, we was the only kids that could. You know, my first time going down south was actually this past April, and it was the best experience I had ever had. You know, and I'm in my 40s. Like, it should have never even took me that long to go do that. But the people were hospitable. They made you feel welcome. They made you feel warm. You know what I'm saying? And that was something that we missed. But at the same time, by my people being from the South, it was a certain way that we had to be family. You know, it was certain things that was protocol. Like she said, like with Big Mama, you know, we over her house every Sunday after church eating dinner. You know, holidays always at my grandma's house, Christmas, Thanksgiving, that kind of stuff. So even now, with all of the older people in my family being gone, I'm like Big Mama now, even though I'm the youngest one. You know, like, Christmases is here at my house, Thanksgiving is here at my house. We did a Juneteenth for the first time ever, and we did it big, you know, but we did Juneteenth in my yard this year. So it's important for us to stay connected and try to reconnect, and for the younger ones that's in my family so they can know who their family are. They can know what's going on. You know, we had a wonderful time, and it's definitely something that we'll continue to keep doing, especially that Juneteenth celebration. Like, that was really big, you know.
Man, and you know what? Thank y'all, man. I truly enjoyed everybody's response, and the only thing I want to do is add this. This is the thing I want to add, and it's really the next question. I do believe that for whatever reason, man, people in our generation, the end of the baby boomers and Generation X, that's the people that's in my group, I think we dropped the ball. And I really would like us as a group to come up with a new way of doing things, because one thing that makes me want to just either throw my phone through a wall or cut my computer off and throw it through a wall for the rest of my life is when I see somebody between the ages of like 55 and 40 say, it ain't like it used to be when my grandmama then was here and your black ass got 3 grandkids. So can we come up with 3 ways as a group? We can do it collectively, or come up with 3 ways that we can reconnect our families. I want to go with Sin. I'm going to start with Sin, Steve, Raider, Charlotte, and then we're going to end with Tran.
Well, for me, what I've done, as much as I hate social media, I went on Facebook and I, started a family page. So my great-grandmother's side, for as far as her brothers and sisters and their kids, and my father's side, like, we all got one big page. So if anybody doing anything, we encouraging each other, come on down, come over here, let's try this, let's do that, let's get t-shirts. We pass the old pictures. Every time somebody find a black and white picture of somebody, we passing that stuff around. Definitely teach your grandchildren. Teach your kids so they can teach their kids, but take the time out. As a grandparent, I got 5 or 6 grandkids. I make sure to try to take some time out with them. Go through them old photo albums, just have stories about different family members and tell them about who their people are. I'm not sure about a third one, but I know those 2, that's what I do right now.
Cool. Steve.
Okay. I agree totally with what she said. Those are excellent solutions. Another thing, I would say men need to start being men, women need to start being women. Quit following the trend. I think parents need to start working together to show the children unity. I think we just need to interact more with each other. Like they said in the old days, go for a walk, go for a ride, get outside. Everybody stuck on the inside. Get out there, breathe that air. And like we were saying earlier, go and travel. See your people in the South if you have people in the South. And she already said, put down social media. Give it a break. Give it a break. Because that's how we're being programmed anyway. Through TV, through the news, social media. I think it was on Facebook, what they were saying about Facebook, increase of violence, and showing violence and people becoming more violent, more hatred. Put it down, shut it down.
Okay.
Hell, start reading a book. You think about it.
which is sad.
Yeah. Well, that's all I got to say on that stuff.
Dion.
I love what both of the just said. The first thing is major. The young lady spoke about with social media, because that's exactly what we do as a family. They literally a couple of times a month, a gang of us get on social media and in those group chats, and everybody talks and laughs and interacts with each other and shares information about what's going on with the kids. And I'm an entertainer. They come and they support my shows, and you know, coming from various states, they come from all over to come and support me, and I try to do the same for them. So I think that we can use social media in a more constructive way to strengthen our bonds. The second thing is what the brother just said. I think I'm gonna piggyback off of that. When he said men need to step up, and I think that's probably one of the most underrated things, because we were supposed to be. We've been given the headship. We're supposed to be the leaders, and in many ways we failed our families and our communities as men. And I had to acknowledge my role in that, because when I was a younger man, I did all the destructive things and contributed to all the destructive ways that affect my community today. And so I had to take accountability for that and do what I got to do right now to literally reverse the curse. Everything that I learned from my youth, being out here, you know, hustling, being out here having all these babies with different women, all of that stuff contributes to what's going wrong in our community. And so now, as a 40 knocking on 50-year-old man, I have a responsibility. I can't just sit back and talk about how bad things are when I contributed in many ways to how it is. So that point that he made is the second thing. But the third thing for me is, and it kind of segues into the third thing, you know, Frederick Douglass said it's easier to build strong children than repair broken men. And I think for me, like the sister Charlotte that teaches these kids, I think that right there is the future. If we don't teach these kids, get a hold of these kids, and basically teach them and unlearn the things that we know better, and empower them in ways so that they can turn this thing around, it really ain't gonna be no hope. Because it's one thing for us to be living in this generation and it's broken, but it's another thing to be raising. The main key is educating these babies and showing them love and showing them a better way than what we grew up with.
Okay, my man. Kev, it's on you, Black.
Well, just to piggyback on some of the other comments, you know, a lot of times social media is viewed as a negative, and it's used as like it's tearing down the community. But like the lady said earlier, we can use it also as a positive to reconnect with people that we, you know, have lost touch with. And I think that's something that's very important, to reconnect ourselves. It's very difficult these days with people all over the country, right, to do a family reunion. But we can use apps, social media, things of this nature to do a virtual family reunion, you know. Just that connection, be it virtual or be it physical, I think is important for the growth of the family, right? So as much as we down social media, the good people can use it for a positive way to connect and to grow our family structure. Also, another thing that I think we can do to connect our family better is, you know, we take our children and we say, or in my situation, grandkids, because my children are grown, but the way I connect with my grandkids is that whatever their interests, whatever they're interested in, right, I try to get involved into that interest and draw them away from it to reality. Great example is like my grandson loves to play video games, and Call of Duty is one of his favorite games, right? Now, some of the people might not realize I'm a huge gun guy, right? I love guns, you know, so what I did with him was I showed him, first I got involved with the game, which I'm not interested in the game, but I just got involved with the game with him to show him that I have vested interest in what he's interested in, okay? So then, once I got that connection, I said, you know what, you like that gun? And he said, oh yeah, that's one of my favorites. I said, okay, well let me show you something. There's something that's similar. I don't have that one, but I have something similar. Let me show you, right? So then I was able to pull him away from that game and put reality into how he connected with the game. I connected reality to him. And then I was able to gain his interest, gave him an idea of, gave him the lessons of gun safety, gave him a hands-on experience, and now he doesn't view that game as something that's just a toy. He doesn't view that gun inside that game as just a toy, right? He now connects it with reality, right? And so I was able to build that fantasy that he plays with or lives in, and I connect that with reality. And so I was able to grow his mind into understanding that it's not a game. It's not just a game, right? There's a reality side to it. So now, you know, when I come and visit, you know, he puts down that game and he wants to understand reality. It goes more than just with the gun thing. Now when he does sports, you know, hey, granddad, what, you know, because you know I used to play basketball, right? So, you know, he wants to learn how to that jump shot. He wants to learn, you know, that post move. You know what I'm saying? So I took his interest and made it something reality for him, and that was able to help his mind grow and understand that this is not just a game. There's something actually, there's a reality side to it.
Man, amen, man. I shake, man. That's dope. That was dope. And I got to add something on when it's my turn. We're gonna go to Charlotte. It's amazing, Cam.
Well, I love what everyone has shared, but I think the most important thing we need to do is be intentional. We have to be intentional and kind of bully each other as a family to get together, because, I mean, we all have the most, you know, excuses in the world. We all work every day. We know we're tired all the time, but we have to make it our business to say, okay, once a month, we're going to get together, we're going to bowl, or as Seneca said, we can do a Google Meet, we can do something to make that connection, and we have to maintain it because life is too short, and you see this all the time. We always have time to go to somebody's funeral, and then we're full of regret, but we need to take that same energy and that same intention and share this time that we have together. And it doesn't have to be just on the holidays. And I saw that you shared one of the comments, someone said that their family competes. So maybe you could do things that are not traditional. Maybe instead on big holidays, you do it on the eve or something. You know, if everybody wants you to come to their house on the same day, you can spread it out. Okay, so 3 days before Christmas, we'll go to Brian's house. Okay, 2 days before Christmas, we go to Raider Krebs. Okay, the day before, we going to Dion's. You know, you got to compromise. You have to be intentional, or else time will get away. So if we want to maintain our family and we want to maintain that connection, it really doesn't matter what you do together, as long as you are together. Even if you have family members that don't know how to work the computer, we can go old school. We can make that phone call. I know it's so easy for me to text, and then when you see the phone ringing, you're like, oh, I don't feel like talking. But see, we have to make that effort. We have to do it if we want to maintain those connections, because I think that's so important. And I know we're still in times of COVID, but I mean, we can do stuff. Steve said, go for a walk. You know, we can do some outside things before winter comes. But yes, it doesn't have to be a big thing. It's just, you know, even a 5-minute conversation, you know, something outside of just a text, though, something a little bit more where we're connecting with one another. But I think you can do a lot of things if you really try.
Man, man, I can't wait till it's my turn. It's on you, Tran, and I think we might be welcoming a new guest, but he's not fully in. So, Tran, take over.
Okay, so somebody just talked about sitting down at the table with your family on a Sunday. That was something my mother always. That was mandatory, and I don't even, and that's something it should be like even out here, my family out here, we only do it on Thanksgiving and Christmas. You know what I mean? Right, so that's something I could easily, okay, Sunday is going to be the thing, because that's what it's always been. And that's important, and that's something that we just ain't never sitting at the same table. I might be at the table, or might be in the basement, wife at the table, my son in the living room, like everybody somewhere, with their food. You know what I'm saying? And that part, they don't get, I need to make sure they see that, and that's something that's easy to do. On Sundays, everybody home. You know what I mean? We're going to have dinner this time. That's something I need to get that going every Sunday. You know what I mean? And because that's important. You need to talk. Everybody needs to be together. We only get those moments every now and then. You know what I mean? But that's also, like I say, just from doing it and being a part of that and knowing this is always something we got to do. Feed the family. This is how the family all come together. This tradition, if it's a cookout, somebody having a cookout, we all going over there. That thing. That's the one thing I brought, to this place. Massachusetts. What's the Massachusetts? A small ass. Hey, it's a culture shock. If I showed y'all this, y'all would be shocked. But yeah, coming from Chicago, where it's popping at to here is different. But that's the vibe I brought, and that's something that stick again. That stick, cause all they friends, all my kids' friends, all my friends, everybody I know. Anytime I light that grill up, I'm inviting everybody. I want everybody to come. On Father's Day, I do a big thing. I don't care if nobody come. I'm doing it anyway. I'm overcooking. You know what I'm saying? Just cause that's how I just was trained to do. That's how I was trained to do it. So that's what I'm used to. So that's what I'm gonna keep doing. But that Sunday is so important with the family, and that's a way to reconnect and reestablish the community, right? So they know that they have to do the same thing going forward. You know what I mean? Ingrain it into them. They ain't too old not to, to feel that and to be able to see that part. You know what I mean? But all y'all making great points. I just had my guy listening. He like, oh my God, I can't believe that you got, people talking like that right now. That's dope that we even on this type of subject, right? And we talking, I muted my mic, we talking the same thing. He say, man, we don't even do that no more. We talking to each other, saying the same thing. Like that's the part that's missing that we can easily correct. And that's what we have to do. We got to be intentional, like the young lady said, and we got to do it on purpose, and we got to show them and create the atmosphere where this is the norm. Again, like this is so crazy that we having this conversation, because this got me going back and understanding what my family gave to me. You know what I mean? That's so important, and that's something I kind of take for granted until now we own it and we thinking about it. I'm like, wow. And I even learned that I'm doing, I'm extending some of the traditions that they gave to me. So if that's what works, then if it worked for me, it could work for everybody.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So this is something I got to reintroduce, and that's the important part. I think we all need, we can start with our own community, and it can spread from there. But this is a great conversation, man. I'm glad you brought this one up, bro.
Oh man, anytime, man. It's been me the whole time. And it's really God. It's really God, and He just using me to say it. What I want to touch on is three things. One thing that Ray Kev said, one thing that Charlotte said, and one thing that Steve said. Steve said we need to actually get to know each other. We need to actually be outside. That's the most important thing to me, because being outside is something that we, and at one point we was forced to be outside all day. From can't to can't. Can't see in the morning, can't see at night. And you was out there. But one thing about the hood and one thing about our community, it was always somebody out on the porch. It was always somebody else on the stoop. It was always somebody outside, and kids were outside. And we have tricked ourselves into believing, oh man, those dudes down there gonna do something. But you know what? I don't know about these new dudes, but in my experience, even the dudes respected the kids and the elders. It wasn't no Black Stones and Vice Lords when your mama came through. Everybody, that was Terry and that was Jack. You wasn't in that no more until their mama went down the street. Then you was back with your hat cocked wherever way you want to cock it. So we definitely have to do that. Rated Kev, as Tran has mentioned several times, Raider Kev took me back to 1655 West Hastings. That's where my great-grandparents lived on the west side of Chicago. And I used to have a boatload of Hot Wheel cars. Unbeknownst to me, now, I walk past this auto shop every day that I know my grandfather owned. I never made the connection that this dude is a mechanic. So I'm playing with these cars. He said, hey, what's that? I said, that's the motor. Yeah, I'm teaching him now as a little boy. I'm teaching you about car. Hey, that's the motor. You don't know nothing about that. Let me teach you this, granddad. He said, what that do? And I was like, that make the car go. He said, okay. He took off his slippers and put on his boots. He said, come to the back with me. And showed me what a motor looked like in real life. I was like, and that's exactly what it was like, oh, so that's what y'all do back here. After that, man, I was he opened that door at 9 o'clock in the morning. I was standing there with her, like, let me in here so I can see these tools. I can see you twisting stuff off. And it was amazing. So that's something else we have to do. We have to take interest in each other, not just the kids. My man Dion is on this show. He has sent me invitation after invitation to his show, and I've never shown up. I know he's not holding it against me, but I feel horrible now because I should have been there. I asked him once. He said, done. One time. I asked him again. He back. So I need to be seeing Dion sing. Me and my man Steve be looking for stuff to do. So guess what? Me and Steve, if he got the time, we going to start going to see Dion perform. And then, here go the sad part. Dion will even say, and I got these tickets for you, dog. Just let me know. So that's an insult to Dion that I haven't been there. He not taking it that way, but we need to start taking it that way. You know what I mean? And then with Charlotte, being intentional. What's wrong with actually wanting to hang with somebody? Like Tran got his man there, and his man going, man, we talking like this now? Just imagine. One thing about me and Tran, man, I remember Tran before I even knew Tran, because we used to be at Dominic's playing the video games and waiting on each other to get off. And I'm looking at Tran, and Tran had the Gazelle joints on, and he had a Kango on. And Tran, see, people think this airbrush jean thing started in the 90s. Tran had that in the 80s. And I'm like, this dude is real live hip-hop. And we've been friends ever since. And we've been doing it ever since. I remember walking in my building on 2nd, and Tran and a couple of people from the organization in our neighborhood was having an organizational meeting in the hallway. And Tran violated all the rules of the organization and looked at me because I was walking in with some Adidas. He was like, and I was like, yeah. And we have been doing, and that's what I'm saying. And guess what? Me and Tran and all of our friends, we talk about 1982, 1983. Now it's 2021, and we meet up every year and have a cookout. And like people always say, man, why you always wear Adidas? It's like, hey, it's a Northside thing. I couldn't, it'll take too long to explain to you. And look, show you how awesome just one or two people doing something we wearing Adidas because we love hip hop and Run DMC. The next thing you know, the whole neighborhood is wearing Adidas. People that don't even probably know me or Tran, they wearing Adidas. The whole, half the Cabrini Green projects is dressing like us. And it's just like, whoa, what's going on? And people still doing it to this day. My man Steve Harris, we do a little cookout. Our man Bud birthday is usually the first week of the football season every year. The Bears opening game is usually on Bud's birthday or the day before, the day after. And everybody at the party got on Adidas. Nobody says only wear Adidas, but everybody have on Adidas. So these are the things that we need to reincorporate. I'm bringing this up because these are the things that we need to reincorporate into our families, as y'all said. And then when you reincorporate this into your family, the community catches on. And then when the community catches on, the nation catches on. And we need to do that because at one point, nobody told everybody what pick they hair out. We just saw Sam Cooke take that conch out his head and everybody started picking their hair out. Nobody said, hey, everybody go get a dashiki. We saw a couple movies where dudes was wearing dashikis and they was like, yeah, brother. And we was like, oh, we need to go get that. Just like the Jerry curl too, but that's a whole another thing. But it regressed into the Jerry curl, but y'all know what I mean. So if we start doing it, we know other people will do it. Now, with that being said, we talked about the South. What's the first step to repairing this situation that clearly, once you get one or two of us in a room, we all say, we need to do this. If you, case in point, Ray DeCare from Texas, Steve here in Chicago from Memphis and Mississippi, me, Charlotte, Tran, and Dion from Chicago, but it's already a kinship right here with this show. What's the first step we need to take? Steve, Dion, Ray DeCare, Charlotte, Tran. Sin had to leave. She told me at the top of the show she had to leave. She had another meeting for her employment. Thank you, Sin. We really appreciate you being here. But go ahead on, Steve. Talk to me, man.
Okay. Well, I wanted to touch base on this question that the guy gave about why do family have a need to compete, and also this goes along with your question. First of all, we gotta stop looking at on those big days or those special days. We at ground zero right now. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So we just got to start just going visiting. You don't have to wait till Sunday. You don't have to wait till no holiday. You just visit them during the week. And this guy, he has 21 grandchildren. Hey, you meet them on Wednesday, Tuesday, whatever. You see what I'm saying? And coming down to the question, we just got to actually start doing it. You know what I'm saying? We just got to do it. Put our fears aside, accept some of the consequences, or just think about it. We just got to do it. Because that's all we've been doing as a people in general, just talk. It's time for action. We come up with all these solutions, these ideas. They're good. But we haven't done anything. Just like with visiting each other. We talk about family. We need to do this, we need to do that. Hey, just get out of the house. Go and visit them. Knock on their door. Call them up, say, hey, I'm coming over. Just like we talking now. Hey, just start doing it. Pick the day. Whoever's down, they show up. It's just that simple. It's not no rocket science.
Dion. Thank you, Steve.
Thank you, brother. The way I see it is our community is too cliquish. We got too many cliques going on. This person's a AKA, this person's a Delta. This person's an Eastern Star, this person's a Moore. This person's a Republican, this person's a Democrat. This person's gay, this person's straight. This person's a Christian. We're broken up into so many different things that everybody kind of factions off, and there's no unity. And I think to fix the problem, we're gonna have to come back to the biggest gang there is, which is the human race. We're gonna have to separate, get away from these cliques. And part of what you're doing right now with us having this discussion coming from different places, different backgrounds, or whatever, that's part of it. But again, we're gonna have to come to some kind of common ground and realize that a lot can be accomplished when it don't matter who get the credit.
Man, that was you and Steve on point like Trick Dice, man. Kev, talk to me, man.
Well, I think we kind of answered this question in all our views throughout the whole show. But what I want to add to that is that we can't think of this issue as being overwhelming, right? We have to look at it as like a micro problem, and then we can fix it on a smaller level and let it, just grow into a habit or a solution to the larger picture. And what I mean by that is this: once we start just taking our family, start with our immediate family, right? The people that we live with, right? The people that's close to us, that we can drive to, in 10, 15 minutes, right? Start with those people and just instill in them some good family values, right? Regardless of how big of a mountain that might seem sometimes. Because I just give you an example in my family, like there's a lot of different ideas on how families should grow or how they should get along or just how they should interact, right? But if you could just take common sense values and start instilling it into your family, your cousins, your aunts, your uncles, and just kill some of the beef that's in your family, right? That would be a great example for those kids to see. And then when you instill that, it's just like that tree I was telling you about, right? Listen, when you start, as adults, when we start conquering those problems in our family, it's our immediate family, right? Our children will see those examples. And then they will take that and help grow their families in the same manner, So our family structure, our family unit is broken because of all the examples we talked about, right? But if we can address issues, the small issues, and cut those things out and show our children how to be true adults, right? Someone else mentioned about like not taking the credit. You don't have to be the one to take the credit for solving the issues, right? Just solve them. Whatever it takes to solve them, because our children are watching. And when you can show them how an adult is supposed to handle family issues, then they're going to learn. And it's going to grow and grow and grow. So I think that's how we combat with society, with miseducation, all those things. We can combat those things by showing how to build our family, despite all the differences, all the distractions, all the miseducation, all those things. Let's show how to do it right on a micro level, and it will grow into a bigger picture.
Thank you, man. Powerful.
I like that.
Charlotte.
I agree with everyone and what everyone has said so far, and I think, again, without repeating too many things, but I mean, it's a common theme. We keep coming back to the same circle of things. So we need to realize the power that we have as one big family. Stop suspecting each other. We have to, build our own self-confidence and our own self-esteem and recognize the beauty that each one of us have. We've all been created uniquely for a reason. We all have gifts that we need to share with each other without feeling threatened, without being jealous, without, those negative emotions, and be willing to share that with one another as well as our younger generation that we want to pass all these things to. And again, I think we need to go back to, again, being that family, being that community, trying to create in others that feeling that we get, that we kept talking about, even though, we didn't necessarily know all our relatives, but the minute you're with them, you get that warmth, you get that welcome, you get that love. And I think that is key. And I also think that as a family, we've gotten away from kind of making ourselves But so many times, even as a teacher, I can't correct my students because their parents are automatically going to be defensive and say that I'm wrong, even though my whole job, my whole career is to help your child. So why would I want to direct your child to do something that's not good for them? But automatically, people get defensive. You can't tell my child nothing. That's my kid. Don't say nothing. Even in our own families, my dad would correct my cousin, and my aunt would say, "That's my son," but she had no hesitation in correcting me. And my family, my parents didn't have a problem with it. If I was wrong, you're wrong. No matter who's saying that. So I see that too. Like, people are hesitant. If you see your child doing something wrong, they're hesitant to say something, but they're gonna stand there and they're gonna watch the kid continue to do the wrong, right? And then talk about them because they're doing the wrong, but they know that they're afraid to correct the child. So I think all of that is key. I think, again, as we've already said, being intentional, getting over our fears and our own insecurities that we have been taught through all these, we said already, whether they're subliminal or directly in our face, right? Things telling us that we're not important or as strong or as beautiful as we are. And then helping each other, even if it's constructive feedback, if it's not all positive, still being able to say, okay, I understand, and really doing that listening, like Tran said, not just waiting, hearing the noise and waiting for your turn to talk. But yes, actually listening and being open to receiving, that help or that support as well.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Tran, close. Take us on.
Okay. Y'all all made excellent points, but I missed the question. I just want to make sure I'm a little pinpoint with what I'm about to say.
Man, what's the first step in repairing all this nonsense?
Oh, okay. There it is right there. Everybody already said it. But that said, it starts within. It starts with the immediate community, your family. You know what I mean? And, and we in charge of that, or we have a lot of say-so how things go, or what's being brought up, or everything, right? Again, I ain't on no, I ain't even anything. But anyway, we all in control, and we all have a say-so of what goes on in our household, and we should use the power that we have to foster, within the community, right? The family, open dialogue, everything. Sitting with each other, passing down traditions, letting them see examples of, what you want them to be or the direction you want them to go in. Like, I struggle to even remember, like, just for me, and I'm sure my mother and father argued in life, because I know me and my wife, we get into it, but it's silent. The kids, it's not in front of. I've never seen my mother and father argue. Okay, it might be a blessing. I don't know what it is, but I've never seen it. So it's the same, right? In my marriage, I don't. Okay, I'll let that be what it is right now in front of everybody, right? I eat that, what we gonna talk about in the room, that's where it is. You know what I mean? So just even that example, like, they never show. I never even seen that. So when I see it, I'm like, oh my gosh. Now, that's almost shocking to me to see a husband and wife, or even a couple, just get into it in front of everybody, right? Because that's something I've never seen personally. I didn't grow up with that, so it was different for me, right? But that's something, again, that makes sense, right? That's a value that everybody, the kids could see. That's something they could recognize and always know, okay, well, I ain't gonna act out, even though, your partner might be loud, or, you have to, okay, I have to conduct myself this way. Everybody else can see me, make their determination of who I am based on this, this conversation in public, but in the end, I'm gonna take that just to go back and, we can solve this together. again, that come with, you know, what I was being told, you know, and I don't know if it was intentional or not, but that's what it was for my parents to show me that, and that means something for me still to this day, you know. And like I say, this whole conversation that we've been going through just got me reminiscing, and you know, even appreciate my mama and daddy even more. And you know, everybody got their faults, you know what I mean? But what they showed me was something it's all, you know, it's in me. It's in my train of thought. So this is how I react right now, right? It comes out in my actions. And if we can all do that, that's going to keep it going. You know, that's the small part we can start with, and that's the mandatory part that we have to start with, and be intentional. I love that. Be intentional with everything that we're doing, right? And understand what we're doing and why we're doing it. You know what I mean? And if we could start with that and everybody stay on that, it's going to keep on growing. It's going to, you know, it's going to grow out, you know. The kids going to take it just like I took it from, just like my brother, just like my sister. It's the same type of vibe everywhere, everything. You know what I mean? So, and it's what they gave us, they planted in us. And now we, you know, we the seeds that's growing, and we got fruit that's growing. You know what I mean? So, that's where it starts, and that's the whole thing that I get from everybody. It start within first, you know, with that small community right there, your family, and it's gonna grow out from there. And if we can all be on that, we'll be in a better place.
Man, what I'm gonna do is get parting shots, and then we'll get up out of here. And what I want to say is this: this is what I was talking about at the very beginning when I addressed Dion. We was talking about the foundation. We do, you know, and it's not to contradict Dion or combat, you know, have any combative nature with Dion. We do have a foundation. I think Dion, what we've been told that we don't have a foundation. I think we separate ourselves from that foundation because, as everybody has clearly stated, we've been duped into believing that foundation isn't genuine. Like I said, I'm gonna send you some videos, D, and you'll be able to better reconnect. I send everybody the videos. That way everybody knows exactly where I'm coming from. Their traditions, they attempted to beat traditions out of us so we wouldn't take over. Because you had, like, our brother, our ancestor, Demar Vesey. Y'all know about this devil, Dylan Ruth. And he walked into that church that's been standing there since our ancestor Demar Vesey created it, and he shot 9 patrons at a church. After praying and hanging out with them, he shot them up. What we don't know, what the news didn't tell us, is that was the day before the anniversary of the greatest enslavement revolt in the history of the United States of America. Over 3,600 brothers and sisters were about to say, "We sick of this." And he went in there and shot that church. So we do have a foundation. What we have to do is reach into people pour into people like Charlotte, who do the toughest job. You know, that police officer is the toughest job thing. No, it ain't. You got 25 to 30 different personalities every 40 minutes in your life. That's the toughest job in the world. Especially when people are not trying to help her do her job and they're being combative. Because this is my child. It was take his ass home and teach him then. But what we need to do is educate ourselves on the true foundation of our folks here, and then that's just here. It's as Tran said, that's the seed. The foundation in North America is the seed. Then we reach back to the continent. And then we got even more tradition building us like a bridge. If you look at the Nation of Islam back in the I think it was 1972. It was either 72 or 69. I know it's a long distance, but it was 72 or 69. You saw the most Honorable Elijah Muhammad had two hands reaching from Africa to America. That's the bridge. And then we create the foundation here. And then we build the house with people knowing that people like Langston Hughes's grandfather and W.B. Du Bois' grandfather in the 1840s had one of the first black expos. Y'all heard me right. In the 1840s had one of the first black expos. Guess what they were talking about at that expo? Reparations. So before the great emancipation, procrastination, I said that correctly, emancipation, procrastination, because they still taking their time taking care of us. Our ancestors was telling us that we need to get these people to give us our money to pay us for our people down here that's struggling. That's the first floor of the house. And then you talk about people like what's his name? I can't think his name. I got his name wrote down. Robert Church, called Bob Church. If you're in Tennessee, Memphis, Tennessee, Bob Church and others help people migrate to the West into a territory that they call Oklahoma. They didn't even call it a state at this point, and they created Tulsa. And then you got people, and I always mention this on the show, Liberty City, Florida, Los Angeles, the west side of Los Angeles. That 405 freeway broke up another community. Dan Ryan Freeway broke up a community here in Chicago. Peoria, Illinois was a thriving community. We can go throughout the entire United States of America and point out communities in which they were financially stable, they were socially stable, and then they continue to move upward and onward. We use that as the foundation. Those are the bricks that are going to build this house that we're trying to redevelop. And it's not only going to be a house, it's going to be a subdivision. And when it's a subdivision, people going to want to be a part of it. Us 7 who were here, well, 8 counting my man Chris, who he was having technical issues, us 7 can really start a movement. We always incorporate in our mind that it takes thousands of people to make a movement. It doesn't take thousands. It takes us 8 right here to start a movement, because Steve gonna be a little more friendly with this guy. I'm gonna be a little more friendly with this woman. Dion gonna be a little more friendly with these 2 people. Tran got his man there, and they gonna be a little more friendly. Charlotte gonna be a little more friendly, and we gonna continue. It's gonna become it will become infectious. Next thing you know, Charlotte and all of us, we taking walks. And we taking walks, what we doing? We walking past people. How you doing? And that becomes infectious. You know what? It's hard to rob somebody that you speak to every day, unless you're just the devil in personage. But if you speaking to somebody every day and not scared to speak and speaking because you're scared, just saying, hey, what's happening, brother? And keep going. Hey, how you doing, sister? And keep going. That becomes infectious. And the more it becomes infectious, the more we'll have a community. And in regards to my brother James, Reverend James Garsberry, he's a good friend of mine. Competition, how about this? Let's compete. We don't want to keep, I don't give a damn how you dress. I don't give a damn how your hair look. I don't give a damn how much money you got. I don't give a damn what your house look like. I don't give a damn what you can do well. Let's outlove each other. Let's compete to outlove each other. Because if I could show Steve insane amounts of friendship, and he does it to Charlotte, and Charlotte does it to Tran, and Tran does it to Kev, and Kev does it to Dion, and so forth and so on, what happens then? We continue to grow as a community, and we don't have an albatross around our neck stopping us from doing what we need to do. With that being said, I want to thank each and every one of you, Tran. I want to thank Seneca first and foremost. She had to go, but her presence was felt. I want to thank Sister Charlotte. I want to thank my man Tran. I want to thank my good brother Steve. I want to thank my good brother Ray the Kev. And Dion had some issues. And I want to thank my brother Dion. And I'm going to be a better friend by supporting his music and things of that nature, because he on here supporting me and I wasn't even there to support him. Which shows you it definitely, all it takes is one act of kindness to make this thing grow. Because now, what was that?
Send the link out for your boy music, man. I want to check it out too.
For sure. For sure. When I talk to him later, I'll send it to you, Trey. And see, again, Dion picked up 2 supporters and maybe more just by me saying I'm not doing what I need to do as a friend. If we compete in love, we'll never lose. So with that being said, I want to thank y'all. This is Built for This Network. I fixed the problem that me and my partners had. I want to apologize to my partners for dropping the ball. But we gonna laugh about that later. I want to thank everybody who supports the show. I need everybody to do what the banner says at the bottom. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Share it with a friend. If anybody who's listening, take that link, show it to one of your friends so they can come in and we can continue to grow and be as prosperous as we can be, because my goal in life is to put us in the best possible situation to grow this community, this end of the bench, this built for this network, this black community as much as humanly possible. I need somebody who I've never heard of to pop up in here and say, hello, everybody, every week. I'm going to do this forum every week until I'm still in this line for Sister Karen Hunter. I'm going to do this until they feel like I don't want to do this shit no more. And I ain't never going to want to do this no more, because this ain't on me, this is in me. This comes directly from Dolores Annette Pollard and John Williams Sr. Those are my parents. So this is what I was taught in my house. This is why I had nothing but love. Steve hear me vent and rant and say, man, I'm sick of niggas, man. And then I'm back Tuesday trying to help niggas out, So that's what I do. It's in my soul, So I need to do this. I need to shout out to people who give me additional inspiration. I do this at the end of every show, so please bear with me. That is my man Lamont King, Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays on YouTube. The Ghetto Boys Podcast, Tariq Nasheed on YouTube. Nori on YouTube, and on Revolt TV, owned by our brother Sean Combs. I ain't calling him Puffy because he's too damn old to be a nickname. Talib Kweli, he's on YouTube and other outlets. Ray Grady on YouTube. Zoe Williams on YouTube. Corey Holcomb on YouTube. Craig Smith on YouTube. Al Sharpton on Sirius Satellite Radio. Heather B, the queen of hip hop. I don't want to hear about no damn Cardi B. Heather B holding it down. She's still active in the community. Heather B, Clay Kane, Larry Daniel Favors, our elder Joe Madison, the man that's a walking encyclopedia. If you got Sirius Satellite Radio, turn to 126, enhance your mind. One of the most informed, educated, personable people I've ever come in contact with, Dr. Greg Carr. He's head of African American Studies at Howard University, but he's bigger than Howard University cannot contain him. If you listen to Dr. Greg Carr, look him up on YouTube. You listen to Dr. Greg Carr for 5 minutes, you'll be a better person in 3. And the person who gives me a boatload of inspiration, and she's dedicated her life to enhancing our community. Her name is Professor Karen Hunter. Thank you guys. Next week's show, y'all can let me know if y'all want to be a part of it. Please do. It's going to be media and entertainment. I'm pissed off right now. My man Ray the Kev, check him out on YouTube. He got a firearm show and a sports show, and he giving personal opinions. Ray the Kev inspired me for next week's show, which is going to be entertainment and media. Why do we keep buying in? I'm sending out the questions. Anybody want to be on, you're welcome to be on. I can have up to 10 people or 9 people, myself and 9 more people. Anybody want to be on, let me know. We're going to do this in 166 hours. And y'all know how I end every show.
Put me in the game, coach.
You here? Everybody who want to be on, you're welcome. As frequently as possible. Or if you want to be on once a month, I don't care. I just want to have this conversation. We got to start inspiring our young people. We got to start inspiring our young adults, our adults, our middle-aged, and our elders to work together, to lock fists, and fight this tyranny called evil, called discrimination, called racism, and called hate. I ain't got time for it. And I want y'all to tune in Monday. I'm going to send y'all a link. It's another show that I'm a part of. It's on BS3 Network. My man Ben from BS3, Ben Sutherland III, that's what BS3 stands for. My man Dalk, my man Mayhem, and myself, we do a show called The Forecast. We're going to give our opinions on the Dave Chappelle Closer comedy special. It may get heated. A lot of people may not be uncomfortable listening, but hey, listen. If you're an open-minded person who wants fairness for everybody, listen. And as Dion always says, we're talking about things for the human race. We're protecting we're trying to save our tribe, but at the end of the day, the ultimate tribe is the human race, and that's what we're dealing with. And y'all know how I end every show by saying, dream your dreams and man up and woman up and live your dreams, because life with dreams flows. Life without dreams flows in black and white. Life with dreams flows in Technicolor surround sound. That's my man, Reggie O'Shea, a.k.a. Combat Jack, the Podfather. And y'all already know I'm going to end a salute to Craig Smith. And I want to tell y'all, if I owe you something, I ain't got it. And if you need it, Get it from God.
We are built for this network, for the strong, not